Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Whenever you're listening to this, hello, and thank you for listening to this. As always, I'm going to say it's Dunk's Movie Corner or Dunk's Movie Corner podcast or pod, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is. That's who I am. If you are new, it's a weekly recap of what I watch in a week TV, limited series, movie, what have you. If you're not new, thanks for tuning back. And like I say pretty much every single episode, this is a companion podcast to the Movie Bros. So if you're looking for something a little bit more substantial, not just me ranting and raving at you for 10, 15 minutes, if you're looking for an actual discussion of a movie, I'd say check out that. And both podcasts are available on Spotify, YouTube, and on Instagram. Wherever you found this one, you can probably find the other one. With that in mind, folks, some weeks are busy, some weeks are not. I am also a couple days behind on recording this because, again, life has happened. I'm still figuring out how all the pieces are going to fit together, but I feel like that is everyone ever, all the time, is constantly adjusting their lives and schedules and everything else, especially as an adult. And you've got, responsibilities and a job and friends, family, coworkers, pets, partners, all that kind of stuff, school, hobbies. Either way, I'm rambling, that's kind of the whole point of this podcast, but I should be talking about the things that I'm actually here to talk about. So, this week, I think last week I ended on last thing I talked about was watching The Detectives. That's just for like a timestamp, so if you are listening to these in order, you kind of know where I'm leaving off and where I'm starting from. But I started this week I started this week watching 1 Hour Photo. This is from 2002. This stars and pretty much is only Robin Williams. So I feel like if you know Robin Williams, yeah, he's very funny. He's a stand-up guy. He does lots of comedies, but he's either doing a comedy or he's doing a super serious role. And I was talking about this with coworkers the other day about favorite actor. He might be up there because he is so good at both something serious and something lighthearted. This is obviously much more serious. Uh, and context, I'm slowly getting more and more into film photography, really enjoying it when I do it. Uh, and in the movie, he works at a film development like kiosk at like a Walmart knockoff kind of thing. Uh, and it's him forming a very unhealthy attachment to a family that he develops photos for the last like 10 years. And at first, you feel sorry for him because he's very lonely, and then you realize, oh, he's actually a psychopath. It's really good. I don't feel good after watching it, but it just shows his range as an actor. And what I really like about this movie is so much of it is about film, and so much of the cinematography and the like color choices I find really reflect that. It's really interesting. It's something that I feel like if I wasn't already into that medium, I wouldn't have picked up on. So I'm glad that it's something that is inherently obvious to me, but maybe not to everyone. So yeah, I'd give that a very solid 4 to 5. I will say the whole movie is kind of a commercial for digital photo taking because this is all about film photography and a guy being obsessed because he's developing this family's films. All of this just wouldn't happen in today's like world of digital. Oh, I'm just taking this with my cell phone. No one else will ever see this. Yeah, there's something to be said about digital, and there's definitely something to be said about film. But either way, from there, I watched Ray. Now this is from 2004. The director, you may know from like The Devil's Advocate with Pacino and Keanu Reeves. Um, Officer and a Gentleman. Those are his big movies. In this one, uh, Jamie Foxx plays Ray Charles. And there's a myriad, like, again, there's probably like 15 other people in this who I recognize their face, but I don't know their name. If you look at if you look at the Letterboxd or the IMDb, you're going to find it. But uh, we're doing this for our next episode of the Movie Bros. It is, it's good. It's long. I think they could have cut out some. The story really gets going. I understand that all of it is Ray Charles' story, so I feel like you probably need all of it. But it really doesn't get going into about 40 minutes in because it's a 2 hour, 2.5 hour movie. Yeah. So about 40 minutes in, I'm like, okay, like now they've set the pace, like things are established, and I get that you need the time to establish the stakes and who the characters are and everything like that. But Jesus, So yeah, Hayden and I are going to talk about this a lot more tonight when we record. Again, both of our weeks are all thrown out, but so we'll talk about it tonight, edit, and that's coming Sunday. So take a look for that coming Sunday. I don't want to say too terribly much more about it because again, we are going to be spending a whole episode talking about it for 30, 40 minutes. So yeah, I would say I liked it. I love just that era of music, all of Ray Charles's eras, because he does go through a couple different transitions in what kind of music he's playing. Uh, I love it. That's my kind of music. The swing stuff, the blues, the kind of country gospel blend. The guy was clearly talented. He, as all usually talented musicians and things like that, and artists. There was obviously some other things going on. Heroin is a hell of a drug, so I've been told. Yeah, I'd say again, listen to more about it this coming Sunday. But that's my thoughts on Ray for now. From there, so recently I rewatched the first Shrek with my girlfriend. It had been a bit for me, and she hadn't seen it in years. So we also rewatched Shrek 2, and the discussion that I feel like I've had with so many people of different like backgrounds and everything, where Shrek 1's fantastic. It, I mean, it saved. I mean, it was the first movie, and it basically established DreamWorks as a studio. It changed animation forever. But Shrek 2 is so I don't know how to word this. Like, so many people think it might be better than the original. I think that's a hard sell because you can't have the sequel without the original. But rewatching it, it is really good. The amount of like subtle nods of different adult themes that are hilarious. Like there's few things that are better than the Bronco chase, like the OJ Simpson nod with Donkey when he gets transformed into a white stallion. The introduction of Puss in Boots, which that is the right amount of Puss in Boots. I feel like if you had any more, because I feel like by it's his own movie and the other subsequential Shreks, I'm kind of done with it. The movie still rides the line of like, it's fantastical and this is fairies and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like by the third one, it's the whole like there's dragon babies with dog. They push the limit I think too far by the third one. Yeah, really, Prince Charming is great. The fairy godmother, who I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but both me and my girlfriend thought this were like she's modeled like, looks like, sounds like, acts like, is this just Meryl Streep as a fairy? But it's not voiced by Meryl Streep, which I thought was so strange because again, everything else I'm like, this is Meryl Streep. So I'd say very solid 4 to maybe 4.5. What I love, if you can remember this when you were a kid, if you had this on like DVD, is the menu would have a basically an American Idol like bonus feature where you and I think it was the fairy godmother would it was the time where like games were part of the movie menu, which I thought was always super fun at the time. Either way, that's just some nostalgia throwing at you there for that. Um, yeah, great sequel, very solid sequel. From there, I watched. Let's see. Oh yeah, One Battle After Another. So 2025, a little bit there. I was watching some old stuff. This is brand new. Came out about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. This is Paul Thomas Anderson, who you might know from things like, I mean, he's got a lot of good movies. There Will Be Blood is great. I love Licorice Pizza. If you don't know what that is, I mean, check that out. Punch Drunk Love is very popular. I never could get behind it, but it's very popular. Boogie Nights is very famous. Magnolia is good. The Master is super like talked about as a classic. I think he won and or a Daniel Day-Lewis one for Phantom Thread. He's a very established director, let's just say that. He's worked with a lot of great actors. He's made a lot of great movies. That being said, One Battle After Another stars a lot of great actors. Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Tiana Taylor, Regina Hall. Her breakout role, and again, she's great in this, Chase Infinity. What a cool name, by the way. What a fucking that's her actual name. That's fucking great. It is. I like the movie a lot. I don't know if I loved it. Some of the I don't even know where to start with this thing. Like it's split between like 16 years ago and the present. So there's like the backstory of all these characters meeting, and then it's this is why they're in the predicament they are in the present. Sean Penn plays a very interesting character, I think is the only way I can say it. Yeah, Leo is fun. Him and Benicio del Toro, their combo, because in the parts where they're together in the movie, Leo's stressed. He's like erratic. He's very high energy. And Benicio del Toro basically plays a super chill, super calm karate sensei who also runs a like underground railroad esque passage for Hispanic or Mexican Americans or Mexicans to come over the border to America. Um, yeah, it's just a great combo. But what I will say is this movie's got actually a lot of comedy in it that is not dumb comedy. What I find that like it's when you say something's a comedy, you could say, oh, it's like a Step Brothers or a Horrible Bosses, where the comedy's fun, but it's a comedy that pretty much anyone can relate to. It's pretty lowbrow. It's dumb humor. It's still funny, but it's a different kind. This is funny, but it feels intelligent when it comes to its writing and its comedy. However, I will say this is definitely not overall a comedy. There's some very serious stuff in this about, oh man, there's stuff about race, there's stuff about the government, there's stuff about like revolutionaries and violence. And yeah, I don't want to say too much because I would really generally most people I would recommend to see this. It's long. That was really my main thing that like irked me is I liked pretty much all of this and I don't know where you would cut out time, but I don't think it was as palatable. Like, there was never a point where I was like, "Man, it's too long," but, like, by the end of it, I was like, "Oh, I've been sitting here for a long time." Like, it was about 2 hours and 35 minutes or so. I don't know where, but if they coulda trimmed out even, like, 15, 20 minutes somewhere, would've been excellent, just saying. That would've been like, "Holy shit," edge of my seat whole time, and I didn't feel like, I sat through a crazy fucking long movie. Anyway, uh, yeah, I would call it what did I rate this? I think I rated a very solid 4 to 4.5 out of 5. I will say the not that this doesn't spoil too much, but the like Sean Penn boner tent, which if you've seen this, you'll understand that was not on my 2025 bingo card, but I mean here we are. That's my letterbox review because that tells you, I mean, very small piece of what the fuck this movie is, but it definitely doesn't, ruin anything. But yeah, I'd say if you can go watch this, go watch this. Paul Thomas Anderson is great at writing, and this is something that Emily said that I think I very much agree with. But he's great at writing pretty messed up older white men. If you think of like Phantom Thread, or if you think of There Will Be Blood, Sean Penn is right along the way with them. Either way, from there, I feel like I needed something maybe perhaps a little lighter. So I watched something called The Matador. It's just something that was on Tubi. The director, he's written a handful of, directed a handful of other things, and nothing of like big note. The concept basically is like a hitman, Pierce Brosnan, who used to play James Bond anyway. So it's basically him kind of playing himself, but he's having like he's losing his edge. He's, not sure if he can do this anymore. And then he runs into Greg Kinnear, which sometimes I like, sometimes I don't. The only role that I find I've really enjoyed him in is Little Miss Sunshine as the dad, because I think he plays that really well. Basically, runs into him at a bar in Mexico. They get along, and it's just them trying to be adult men friends, and one being a hitman that's kind of losing his way, and the other one being a normal guy. And it was fun. I don't think it was a great movie, but like I had a good enough time watching it. It was kind of nice to see James Bond, that kind of playing James Bond, but also against type because it's him like not being able to take the shot and crying in a stairwell. Maybe it's still a comedy to a certain degree. So that's the Matador. Feel like there was other things. That's everything that I've recorded that I've said that I've seen this week. Otherwise, let's see, I finished 2 different books. So usually I'm reading a book and then I'm also listening to a book on audio tape. So they just happen to line up to where I finished both of them this week. And I'm planning, but I think I'm actually surprisingly really looking forward to this, is doing a video or doing something where I talk about all the things I read or listened to this year. Because this is the first year in I can't even remember the last time that I'm like really into both reading and or listening to audiobooks. So I'm burning through stuff, so I'll actually have things to talk about. If anyone is listening to this and have any recommendations on things I should be listening to or should be reading, I've been pulling suggestions from coworkers and friends, so I'm happy to add to that because now I've just finished a series of 3 books. They were very good. It was the Collapsing Empire, the uh, the Collapsing Empire, the Consuming Fire, and the Last Imperox. A random book that I pulled off the shelf. The first one at Powell's in Portland, and I didn't realize it was the first of a trilogy, but they were very good, so I went through all 3. I bought the first one, again, thinking it was a single, and then I just got the second and third from the library. And I also just finished listening to Dark Matter, so also, it's just a one-off. It was really good. It's basically like, again, I'll talk about this whenever I do this post of all my books and stuff, but if, like, the multiverse with, like, kinda like Rick and Morty vibes, but, like, not funny, very serious, very well written, um yeah, I don't wanna say too much more, but, yeah, I very much enjoyed that. So, there's a couple of different things in my queue. I don't know what's the next thing I'm gonna listen to, but I really don't know what the next thing I wanna, like, physically read. Because usually when I read a book, I prefer, no matter if it's a single or one in a series, max out each book at, like, 300 to 350. I don't want this chonky big thing. That's why Dune has been sitting on my shelf for so long, because I know that's literally where my name comes from. If you didn't know that, Duncan, Idaho. That's who I was named after. But man, it's so dense. I don't. I don't know how people can fucking do this. I love a quick little page turner that I can hold in one hand, like a paperback. Even something that I can like fit in the back pocket of my jeans. I love that kind of book. All right, that's very non-movie rant and ramble there at the end, but that is all that I watched this week. I've been occasionally watching an episode or two of like Portlandia, trying to burn through the last little bit of that because once I start a series, I'd really like to finish it. Even by the end, I don't even like it anymore. I do try to finish those things and give them the benefit of the complete arc of it. Emily and I are still slowly going through Andor. Yeah, we just keep getting distracted with other things and going diving and just being out and doing life, but so we're getting through that. Probably when I finish that, I might do a whole separate thing on just Andor. I don't know. That, I think, is everything that I can ramble about. That was episode, what did I say? 3 of Dunk's Movie Corner, or Dunk's Movie Corner Pod, or podcast. That was 1 Hour Photo, Ray, Shrek 2, One Battle After Another, and The Matador. Check out Ray this weekend from the Movie Bros, and I will talk at or with or to you all next week.